Hey, good evening. It's Monday. It's Monday. Hey, I don't care if you had a Monday. I need you to have a moment right now. Come on, release with me and jam with me. It's Monday. We made it through it. Oh, and maybe you're watching this on a replay, so maybe it's not really Monday, but I need you to dance like it was a Monday and you needed to get something out. Go. Hey, get it. Get it. Hey. Hello. How are you? I hope you're having an amazing day. Even if it was the Mondayest of Mondays, even if you're watching this Monday program on a Wednesday, it doesn't matter. Whatever day it is, I hope it's amazing. I am Dr. Renita, and I am so excited to be back with you again this day, this new month, because hey, it's May. It's May. It's May. It's May. We're so excited about it being May, about this new month, about our new topic. It's all the things. Back to I'm Dr. Renita. This is Leadership Live, and Leadership Live is just the sharing of journeys. It's the absolute sharing of journeys, of stories, of lessons learned to help all of us become more amazing in our leadership life. And I did it by myself in 2019 for 52 weeks. Honey, it was a thing. Me and God had to talk about that thing. And I was like, God, you sure? And God said, keep going. And so I did. And then in 2021, I had the absolute pleasure of having 54 guests in 49 weeks. And we talked about all the things. But here we are in 2022 doing things a little bit different. We have one topic for the month and we dig into that thing, which means I'll have about 11 guests, or who knows, maybe I'll have some special guests here and there throughout the month, but I'm going to have about 11 guests. We're talking about 12 topics and we're doing the thing. Why is it just 11 guests? Because in April I didn't have a guest, but we're not going to talk about that anymore. It was great. You liked it. And here we are with a new guest. And Dr. Renita, who am I? I'm an educational leadership strategist, which just means that I love to work with aspiring and growing leaders to become more authentic in their leadership, empower their followership, and at the end of the day, have a greater impact on the world. I am also the founder of the Refining Life, a 501c3 nonprofit organization whose mission is to provide you with experiences to shift your mindset so that you can lead a more positive and productive life. I'm an author, Stepmom, Trials, Tribulations, and Triumphs, editions 1 and 2. While You Are Sleeping, The Perfect Children of All Ages book. Yo, they're mine. I'm excited about it. I love them. I'm also a coach, a mentor, a veteran educator, having served grades kindergarten through college. And I am the editor-in-chief of Lead Like You magazine. If you haven't read it, go to leadlikeyoumag.com. The April edition just dropped, the 4th issue, but you can catch issues 1 through 4 in there. Honey, go do all the things. Order the copies if you want them. Read the digitals, do all the things, but that's not all we're here for today. We're here to talk about leadership, but we're here to do it in a very amazing way. And I have one of the most amazing guests today. She is fabulous. She is amazing. And let me tell you, this topic, honey, just on the phone. I knew her before we had this conversation on the phone, but we had a whole different conversation on the phone. And this topic is one that she is just going to bless us in amazing days with. Are you ready for her? Are you get ready because she's coming anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Latoya Faustin. Oh, see, you see how she joined the audience because the audience was so hyped. And they were so excited and hyped. And she joined them. Welcome. Latoya, I am so excited to have you here with me.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, okay, so you all, we're going to talk about a topic. What we're not getting ready to do. I know it says parents and professionals. Calm down. We are not professional parents, even though at this point we're pretty much professional parents, but that's not what we're talking about today. So that she's about to bring the heat, but I'm going to step out of the way so that she can tell you about her, because who's better to learn it from? Go ahead.
Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Latoya Faustin, born and raised in Greensboro, North Carolina. I am a nonprofit professional by trade and training. Started my career off in education with Teach for America on the border of Texas and Mexico. Left the classroom in search for greater impact and support of the education system. I now run a nonprofit called She Built This City in Charlotte, North Carolina, getting youth, women, and marginalized communities engaged in the trades. I also have a small business called Stay Ready Consulting Solutions. We focus on helping small businesses and nonprofits come up with creative, collaborative solutions through community engagement, DEI initiatives, you name it. We are helpful in any area of a small business's growth plan. But tonight, I'm not here to talk about either one of those. Tonight, we're here to talk about what does it mean to be a parent of a professional, meaning a child who is in the entertainment business. It's something that I am new to, but have learned very quickly. And I'm excited to engage in that conversation with you tonight about what it means to be a momager.
Let me tell you, people. One, you just heard everything she does. I told y'all she's something like amazing. Two, Momager Life. Oh my goodness. My goodness. So in our talking about parenting professionals, we're talking about having kids who are professionals. Like they do the things. And not just like they do the things and like we take them to soccer and then, we take them to dance and then we take them to school. Like they do a lot of things. No, these kids are out here doing things that require us to fill out paperwork to the government. Parenting professional children is a whole thing. It's a thing. It's a thing. And you don't know that it's a thing until you have to do that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Latoya, I have been watching you and the way you are handling this momager life with your son. My good, it is something to be admired. I mean,
Thank you, Renita.
you just do that. And I thought that, and asking you to be a guest, I was like, Latoya could talk about a bazillion things. You all just heard everything that she does. But for you to come up with the topic of talking about this part of life, it's a part of life that a lot of people don't understand, and they may think it's harder than it is. They may think it's easier than it is, but whatever they think, it's not it.
Right. It is not it.
Because you don't know it until you're in it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so, Latoya, how did you even fall into this momager life?
Yes. Well, thank you again for the platform, the opportunity to share it. With all of the many hats that we all wear, this is the newest one. And as I've been digging my heels in to support my son in his endeavors, the combination of my lives felt like we're coming together in a way that I wanted to highlight, because I think, number one, for the industry, also for our community, lack of representation of Black and Brown kids in these spaces is often because of lack of understanding for the families of what does it look like. And so I wanted to be able to provide a platform for that. And so thank you for allowing this space. How did I get here? So I have a little boy. His name is Thaddeus. And around about 3 years old, Thaddeus said he wanted to be in the TV. And so I was like, okay, we want to be in the TV. So I started to do a little bit of research around what was here in the area. We live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I dibbled and dabbled in modeling just a little bit when I was in high school, enough to know about agents and things of that nature. And so I started to do a little bit of research, found a few here. And I like to tell this story because our first audition, I found one of those things online that says, so your kid wants to be a Disney star, like come to this hotel. And so we did that. I'll say, I do believe those are money grabs. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
But we went, and what I saw in my son inspired me to invest in him. What I saw, he was 4 years old at the time. And we went into this big hotel room. He got his little lines. And while we were standing in line about 30 minutes waiting, he memorized those. We walk into the room, Renita, and he freezes. He freezes. The producer was a jerk, in my opinion. He just started saying the lines. And so Thaddeus didn't know what was happening. He didn't realize that he was supposed to say his lines back. And so you could see the visual on the guy's face, or like discounted him. But like once Thaddeus came back to himself, I was like, these are your lines. When I see that little boy did like a 180 and got into character, he like was like pointing fingers, like, no, you do. Like he really got into it.
Oh,
I
wow.
was like, well, now look at here. Like when what's
Who
because
are you?
grown up Latoya would have cried. Like I'd have cried right there in the moment because like I know what's going on. So that was the first sign of like, okay, something is here. But then weeks later, he would walk around the house saying the lines, and he wanted to do them over and over again. He remembered them. It was like a game to him. He just wanted to keep saying them. Mommy, you be so and so. I'll be this person this time, and let's do it this way. He just kept over. I was like, all right, we in this.
But you know what? I love that you allowed him to lead. You allowed him to lead. We talk about a lot, and just in life, talking about, training up your kids in the way they should go. And, we want our kids to be leaders, but a lot of times we don't allow them to take leadership in their life whatsoever at an early age. So then they get to older ages and they don't know how to take the lead, and they're constantly looking to us to make a decision for them. And we get mad at them because they don't make decisions. Like, we can't have it both ways.
Yes.
But allowing him and his God-given talent and potential to lead you and your decisions for him. I think that that's one of the biggest things that I think momagers and just moms in general or parents in general can do for their kids, is really allowing who they are to guide the way that you set up their training, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And like I remember when I was pregnant with Thaddeus, I prayed for God to show me what his natural giftings were so that I could help support them. Now I'm thinking like engineer, like I'm thinking, robotics, something. I don't know what I thought I was going to see, but to see so very clearly at that young age what he wanted, because from there I submitted him to other agents here in the area, and we got a call back. His very first call back from an agent to do a virtual audition. Gave a commercial that I thought Thaddeus was supposed to memorize, and so we memorized it. Got on the call and had a little conversation, and he said, all right, bring out, Mom, do you have the commercial? Feed him the lines so that he can do it. And Thaddeus did the thing from top to bottom with no direction, because I thought he was supposed to. And
Right.
the agent said, did you memorize that? I have grown men who cannot memorize the content that you just memorized. And that's like, yeah.
What else do you need?
So like even in that, it was like, okay, there was just, again, the additional confirmation that he has an actual gifting in this. And I'm going to support it as long as he is in it and is showing me the effort that he wants to do this. Is not fussing, not complaining, but it's still his desire and his passion. All of that I talked about: education, leadership, business strategy. He gets all of that. He gets a full kit and caboodle, because he's shown me that that's what he wants to do, and he puts forth the effort to make it happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, I have a not so little person who does this type of thing, and a little person who, we're still filling her out, we're trying to figure out her life. But our not so little person who does this type of thing, one thing that we've learned as she's gotten older is that what looks like laziness to us is not particularly disinterest. And she's 11 now.
Yeah.
And she's a preteen. And preteen Momager Life. But she has very clear passions. But let me tell you, when you're a preteen, you just get over life. It's not even that you don't love the things anymore. You're just over life. You just don't want to do that. And we've had to ask her, and that's something that I do regularly. Do you still want to do this? Like, you don't have to do this. And I know sometimes it probably comes off to her like, you getting on my nerves. I will pull you today. But I really want to know, is this still your desire? Because we spend a lot of time. I mean, I think about, the effort and the time that it takes to get Thaddeus to get a script in him, and that he knows it and all is well. That is not something that happens in 4 seconds.
Right.
We have a child who trains a minimum of 4 days a week in her craft. Yeah. And that's just that one thing. That's not the only thing she does. But that one, her main is a minimum of 4 days a week. And if I'm going to keep investing my time and my energy and my finances into this thing, I need to know for sure that you are really still with this program,
Mm-hmm.
because it gets bigger and it gets larger and you have to go do these things. But as her momager, because I had to start wearing my hat differently. The deeper she got in, the deeper I had to get in.
Yeah.
And you got to dive with them, like, until they can really handle their own. And that's not particularly at 18, people.
No.
It's not particularly at 18. You might be a momager until they're 75 if you still yet here. Just know. But, the deeper she goes, the deeper I go, the deeper we go, our family goes. And we have to have an understanding that this is still your passion. Because as momagers, I think one thing that we don't ever want to do is try to force them to do the thing because they've been doing the thing.
Right.
Especially when that thing becomes lucrative.
Yeah.
And you say, oh, I'm doing it for you. Are you, though?
Yeah. No, we've had to have that conversation, even though, he's still so young. He was invited to go to an international competition in California. And we were preparing for it. We've been preparing for like 6 months. He was learning all of the monologues, commercials, scripts, left and right. And about 2 weeks before, the nerve started to get to him. He's like, I don't think I want to go to California anymore. They said, what now?
Wow. I started twitching. What did you say?
Yeah. Let's discuss. And I think it is a fine line, a very fine line of having to support them to hear through the stress, the hormones, the tiredness, like to hear through that, to really hear their heart. And is that a really, I'm scared right now.
Right.
And you need to be able to, as the mom in you needs to come out and give that confidence. Is it, I am disinterested? Is it, I've practiced too much. You've pushed me too hard. Like, I think it's just like when they were babies and they had different cries, and you had to distinguish, well, that's your I'm tired cry. That's I'm a hungry cry. That's just pick me up and hold me cry. I think as they transition through this particular life, it is important to stay close to their heart and distinguish what the complaint is of why are you crying out right now and what that really means. I danced, through college. I played the violin, and I quit somewhere in high school. And I look back on that now, and I wish someone would have held my feet to the fire to say, actually, if you continue with this violin, the number of doors that will be open to you.
Right.
Like, I wish someone would have pushed me to stay a little bit longer. And so I keep that in the back of my mind as well. Is like, is this something that you just need a break from and we'll come back to it? Or are you really, I'm done, which is fine. But I think as the parent that God blessed that child with, they put you together. I think you have to trust your gut, your intuition. Again, just like you learned their cries, you have to learn that as they get older in this space as well.
Absolutely. I was a violinist as well.
Yeah.
I was very good. And I at some point in time had to make a choice. And I wish it had been a choice to go back to later, because now I kind of crave that.
Yeah.
But also in this momager life, like, and I wasn't as deep in as my children are. Like they're doing other stuff. Like we traveling a lot. But I was still in a way, going into, so I danced as well, but and I was in a company, so we danced a lot. And I was with a single parent who in some ways she had to make decisions for herself as well. And I think that's something we're going to talk about later this month, dealing with the mom of the momager.
Yeah.
But there comes a time when you really have to hone in on the thing. But if you don't have support, like as the mom of the momager, it's sometimes hard to really nurture all the giftings of this being that you've been gifted with.
Right.
But let's shift gears just a little bit. And you said you brought up the idea of agents, and we're gonna get to that later this month. But I really want to get into the idea of what it really takes, what to be a momager of a child who is in this world, this professional world, whether it be with acting or athletics or, whatever it is. When you really start thinking about what your momager life is like, give me like maybe a typical day in the life of the momager of Thaddeus.
Okay. So the typical day in the life of, and so as I mentioned, we have agent, we have manager. So he has two agents, one in here in North Carolina that's for the Southeast, and he has an agent out in LA that covers LA and New York. He also has a manager. The difference between the two, an agent can book you, a manager cannot. We'll go deeper later. Manager helps you with your image, things of that nature. So typical day in the life. Let's say he gets a casting call, and so behind the scenes there's websites, 800 casting actors access, that he has profiles on, and you have to be a part of usually an agency to get on those. Some of them you don't, but his agent has them on, several casting sites, and then they put his profile in. So at any given moment, he gets a call back. And so when a call back comes, I usually get a text from an agent or his manager saying, hey, something on there, check it out. So what that means for me as the mom, I go in, I read it, I read the overview and do first the morals check. Like, is this something that we can stand behind? You do the schedule check. All right, this is when the audition is happening. I have to have this submitted by what day this week. And then when is the available date? So when is it actually shooting? So you have to check your calendars and say, okay, if he were to book this, I'm gotta cancel this, move this appointment around, tell the school. And so those are the first things. I look at it and then I confirm and say, yes, we can do it. So that means we are committing to meeting that deadline for the agent. So depending on what it is, if it's a commercial, it's usually easy. If it's a movie or a TV show, there's usually a script that has to be learned. Now, I will say, praise the Lord for my communications degree from Eli University. And that one TV production class I took, the very one TV production class I took, that gave me a little bit of insight on cameras and angles and lightings, because we have a little home studio set up where we record. So you look it over, you figure out, they have their slates, which is, their name, their company, age, whatever they ask. And usually every audition is different. I say these because I have to internalize. It took me a while to understand that I have to internalize all of it, because if I don't understand or if I miss something, that could mean his video be rejected. So if I don't do the full body shot like they asked, if I don't do the close up like they asked, the casting agent don't care that I'm an inexperienced mama. They're gonna look at him like, they didn't meet the expectations and just delete his video. So I internalize all the requirements. I internalize the script. I get Thaddeus. Sometimes I have to pick him up early from school, depending on the requirements. Like if I have to have it in that night or the next day. Pick him up, make sure he's in a good mood, make sure he has eaten, make sure he is not tired, make sure he has a chance to play. I have to like sort of feel out his energy for the day. Then we start learning, and I try to do it keep it as fun and as light as possible, so that he is learning the script. He's a lover of literature. As a former English teacher, I've made that a part of his life, and so I try to give him some backstory, like this character is from so and so, and like what do you think they're feeling? And so we do a little bit of that, and then usually dinner, something else at home, and then we get into character. He has grown in to start asking me questions like, "Mommy, do you think this character will wear glasses? Mommy, what should I wear?" So he actually tries to get into character for the audition. We record it very early on. We've determined 3 takes is our max for any one scene, because it vexes us both.
You gotta know your limits.
You get 3 takes max for any one scene. We record it. I usually try to get him in bed soon thereafter, depending on the time. But also he's grown in his craft that he likes to look at the different takes and give his feedback on which one he wants to submit. He's 5, Renita.
I love it.
He's like, I like the number 2 better because I laughed a little. I'm like, okay, I'll look.
Nobody's mad at you, number 2.
Then I edit. I have to edit the video to take out any, bloopers, get it to the right timing that the casting director has asked for. Then we upload it. For actors access, it has to go to my agent first. The agent gets to view it and give their approval. Then it goes on to the casting director. And so that is usually the schedule we're on each week. Since we got back from LA in January, we've had at least one each week, if not two or three of that happening any given day. And then the thing is, you don't know if they book it. And so the next phase is you wait for that phone call or their text message to either have a follow-up, video to submit, or you booked it. And then it goes into airplanes and hotels and dog sitters and like packing.
I love that. Book, airplanes, hotels, dog sitters. Like, look, this
I
is what
forgot
it
that
is.
one time. I forgot about the dog one time. I had to like do a last minute.
So for those of you all who want to have professional children and have pets, understand that there's multi-layers to this. There's multi-layers to this. But oh my god, okay, so I heard so much in that day. The first thing I heard is that you have to be uber organized. Like you have to have your ducks in a row. You can't see this because I'm not going to show you all. Not. But there is a big black like dry erase board over here. And
Yes.
it's all kinds of cruddy stuff on it. And then but in our kitchen, there's another calendar because
Yeah.
I've learned that I can't be the only person with all this stuff in my head.
Mhm.
And it's too many people in this house for me to be the only person with this stuff in my head. So there's a
Yeah.
calendar out there, but then there's a calendar on my phone. It pops up on my computer, and I have a paper calendar. Why is the calendar so important? Did you all just hear what Latoya just said? Before you can even say yes, I'm going to record it, which was a whole different thing. You got to make sure all these ducks are in a row, which means you got to know what you got to do. You know what
Yeah.
you have to know what they already have on the books. If you're married, you got to know what your spouse is doing.
Yeah.
And you might need to know what your mama's doing because they probably play into this.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I was gonna say I left a little bit of that out because I co-parent, with Thaddeus' dad. And so depending on what those dates look like, it's a text into him like, hey, are you free? Or can he go? Like,
Right.
because I am not the sole dictator of his schedule. And so there's a lot of communication back and forth there. And to your point, if we do have to travel, somebody coming with me usually. So my mom, like, can you come up this weekend to help with X, Y, and Z? And so it is, you're very right. You have to have a very organized calendar because your turnaround has to be so quick. His agent told me that submit it as even if they give you 3 days to submit, try to submit that first day because once the casting director gets 3 or 4 that they like, they're not even looking at the rest of the videos.
Right.
So like you have to have your ducks in a row so that you can move fast because that's the opportunity there and you don't want to lose it for your child.
Absolutely. And we're gonna touch. We're gonna touch that. But I also heard that you have to be very aware of your child because once again, you got to know when you're picking them up during the school day. Don't fool around and make them miss the part of the day they really wanted to be there for. That is going to affect your video schedule because now you got to get over the fact that if you had left 10 more minutes for show and tell, it would have been all right.
It would have been.
You got to know the school schedule.
Yeah.
Also, what I heard, but that you didn't really touch on, is that you have a strong communication life with his school. And
Yes.
they have to be on board with him
100%.
living this life. And so, that is something, as we are going into middle school years that we're having a very hard time with is
Yeah.
figuring out exactly her education, where it's going to happen, what institution is going to support her. Because what is not going to happen is that I'm about to slow her down because the school won't get with the program. Oh,
Yeah.
no. What I don't want to do either. Now, let me let you all know, I am a veteran educator. I have served grades kindergarten through college. I have taught all middle school and high school age children. My oldest daughter is my favorite oldest daughter. She is by far my favorite oldest daughter. If I have to homeschool her, though, I just don't know if we'll both make it to her 18th birthday. I don't know if that will happen. And
Yeah.
what you did not include in there was the fact that you work full time.
It's little, little details.
It's the little thing. So while you're working all these things out, you have this great relationship with school. You're pulling him and you're getting him home and you're feeding him because food hunger is real.
It is very real.
You're letting him play. You're working with him online. You're doing all this recording and editing. Editing. She glossed over that.
Yeah.
Let me let you all know. Anything. I don't care if it's an image. I don't care if it's a video. Editing anything, especially when you care, is going to take you 26 years. But you got to do it in 12 minutes. But it's going to take you 26 years to get it done. And it's never going to be perfect.
Yeah. And it's two things. I want to go back to the school thing as well, which is about the editing. I had to realize usually my standards for Thaddeus are higher than the agents because I don't like none of the takes. I'm like, yeah, no, that
All
was
these
good.
videos are trash, but here they go.
Here you go. And she's like, oh, they're wonderful. I'm like, yeah, nah. So I had to realize that sometimes it was me impeding that. Like, to your point, like I want to give it the best thing. And if he just did it like this, it would be, even better because I know my child. But I had to let some of that go and learn to just let him be and submit as is. But you're absolutely right. The editing can be the longest part of it because you're deciding, like literally going between takes, choosing which eyebrow up, eyebrow down. Like it's stupid. But like, so that's one thing. But you mentioned the schooling, and I wanted to mention, we knew Thaddeus was headed to LA before he started kindergarten. And so I emailed the principal before he started school and said, hey, this is his life. We chose this school because it is an arts integration. I need to understand that you all be in full support of this if we're going to enroll. Because as a former educator myself, the goal of an education is to get a good job, to explore the world. Well, he already has a job.
Right,
We're not going to let school get in the way of his job. Like he has a job. He has a job.
But that a lot of adults can't say. A lot of adults never, ever, ever get to live out their passions in the way that they potentially could have. And he is 5 and doing it. And I love what you just said. As his momager, because his momager is speaking right now. What you're not going to do is cut this off. So if I have to enroll him somewhere else, I will.
That was the gist of the email. Like, let me know now if this is going to be a problem because we can go elsewhere. I had a conversation with his kindergarten teacher about it as well. And they are so much a part of the community that like I can send a script to his after school teacher and be like, can you run this with Thaddeus if y'all have some time? Because we got to record this when he get home.
We'll come home ready. Let's go, mama.
Let's go. And then the last thing, when he got his California's workers permit, you have to submit their report cards. You have to submit all kinds of things. And like every 6 months it has to renew. Because if he were to book, they have to be in touch with the school because they have to have an on-site teacher. Yes. That's a part of the laws. And so they have to communicate with the teacher about what he's doing in school. And so your school, you have to be in an environment that supports that, because if they weren't ready to support that, it makes the whole process more difficult. So that's a very important point about making sure that you're in a school environment that supports it.
Absolutely. Wow. One, the time is flying. Two, this is such a meaty subject. And I think that there are so many children out there who have gifts and talents. Is every child meant to be in this professional world at this age? No. 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 I don't care how much you want to meet Tyler Perry. It's probably not worth it if this is not really your child's life. Not every cute child needs to be a model. It's really not everybody's calling. Just because your kid gets up at Thanksgiving and kills the rug for the people, just giving it, still may not be for them. Mm-hmm. Listen to your child, listen to your instinct, really start doing some studying and some research, because that's something else that I've definitely heard from you. Yeah. You have studied, you have researched, And in order to be an effective momager for him, even before he got an agent, before he got a manager, in order to be effective, really, even in selecting those individuals, which we'll talk about next week. I'm trying not to go there. But the momager has to be the first line of defense. Now, I'm sure. Let me not even get in trouble with the brothers. I am sure there's some dadagers out there.
Yes.
But guess what? I'm a momager. Latoya's a momager. So we're talking about momagers today. If you need to fill in the mom part with dad and be a dadager, we're still talking to you.
Yeah.
Same thing. But as the parent, the guardian of this child, you manage them first.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you're their first, the first place they see a sermon is with you. The life
Yeah.
you live is the first sermon they see. The first place they start learning education is with you at home, the parent, the guardian. The first place their career starts, if they are a child who's going to be a professional in anything, it starts with you. It starts with you.
Yes.
And you have to be ready. You have to gird yourself up as much as you're teaching him lines, as much as you're getting his schedule together. Mamas, you got to be the one.
Yeah.
Daddies, I'm including the dads. Dadagers, you have to be the one. And you have to be ready because you can jack it up for your kid.
You absolutely can. And I was going to say my last point around the whole concept is that it really means you're their advocate. You're their
Right.
advocate in every space that they're in. We've learned this, trial by fire. Thaddeus' first movie set, was my first movie set. Like, I know what's going on here. And then just having to advocate for him, even there, of like, actually, it's a little bit too late for us. Like, even so, I learned early there was a scene he was supposed to be in that had some explicit language that I wasn't comfortable with, and I had a conversation with the director. I'm like, hey, any way we can adjust this so that he is not in earshot when this part of the scene happens? Can we, move some things around? And she was able to make that happen. They changed the scene around so that he wasn't right there when the confrontation was happening. And like, I didn't know I could do that, but because I was like, that meant a lot to us as a family that he wasn't around that. We were able to do that. And from there, I realized, he's the talent. And
Mm-hmm.
I get to push a little bit because of that for his best interest. Now, we're not talking about having fancy meals and stuff sent to
No,
him because
this is not the he requires filet mignon.
no, 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 no. But like when it comes to like his rest, his, same thing. Have we been doing this a little bit too long? Does he need a break? I've asked for breaks on set. Like, hey, can y'all give us? He needs to go run outside for a little bit. We need that. No one's gonna do that for your child but you. But you have to find that fine balance because you can't be directing the scene. Like, actually, can you move him to the side? Like, so you have to find that balance between like taking care of his needs versus doing the movie people's jobs. And so I think that is something you have to find for. But yeah, you're the only one who can do that, and I had to learn that the hard way.
Mm-hmm. Being their advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Being their advocate. But that also goes back to you got to know your kid.
Yeah.
If you are excited and desiring to get your kid into this type of world where they're doing these professional things, make sure that you've done your work first. If you have not taken the time, one, to get to know your kid whatsoever, so you just that you know them. And this requires more than birthing them or getting them from the foster care system or the adoption agency. You really got to spend time with your kid and get to know them.
Yeah.
You would be shocked the things that you discover that either they know or can do, or the way they love, learning your children's love language early.
Mm-hmm.
But really getting to know your kids so that when it comes to places and spaces where you have to speak up on their behalf and be the voice that they can't be yet or may not know how to be effectively, if you know them, they will thank you so much without even knowing how much they appreciate it until later when you get this amazing Mother's Day gift when they're 42.
I got to wait till 42.
It might come before then, but at 42, they're gonna throw you a brunch, and they're gonna, you know what? When I was 5, I remember you telling that director, "We need playtime now."
Yeah.
And My body was so craving that. I know that. I've spoken with my therapist because, hey, who doesn't always have a therapist? I spoke to my therapist and we talked about the importance of play in my life because I have been in movies since I was 4 and I'm still making movies. So, hello, we're gonna speak that. And I just need to keep myself grounded. And play still plays a role in my life. The things that we do now and the time that we spend now and the research that we do, even of our own children now, is going to pay in dividends, whether or not they stay in these careers, because I think that's something else as momagers we need to understand. Things may shift. Their children. Their children, and they are shifting and growing every day, and they're learning more about themselves every day, and they're getting new experiences every day. It may change, even though it may change and come back.
Right.
Allowing our children the brevity to still be children.
Absolutely.
And do the thing they love.
Mm-hmm.
And do the thing that they've been blessed to be able to do in a way that is impacting others is huge.
Absolutely.
It's huge. All right, so we're going to stop there because I promise you all this would go into like a 5-hour segment of talking about all the things. But Momager Life is real. And I'm sure as we go throughout the month, it will talk more. The Momager Life will come back up. But we wanted to set a base for you for what we're going to talk about for the rest of the month.
Yes.
Parenting professional kids is a special calling.
Mm-hmm.
It is a special calling. And I need everybody out there, whether your child does pageants and is rocking and rolling every weekend and winning them and going to photo shoots and getting signed to these things and running, whether your child is doing gymnastics and you learned when they were 2 that they started flipping across the floor by themselves and they did a layout by themselves. Like the teacher was like, whoa, where did that come from? And now they're just all over the place going to every competition. If they are acting, like you have an actor on your hands and maybe they started locally and they're starting to reach out to these different realms, or they're dancers and you see that, look, the dance life, you better hit it while it's hot because bodies grow.
Yes.
You need to know what you need to be doing to ensure that they can still do these things and have the strength and the capacity, whatever it is that your child is doing. If they have now, you all have now, not they, your family has now entered this professional realm.
Yeah.
One, it's great to be able to talk to you so you have support. We are now part of your village. Welcome. I'm so glad we can be here for you. But also get your mind right. Get your leadership life together because you are leading this. You're teaching your kid how to lead by your example, but you are the leader. And no matter what agent they have, no matter what other managers they have, remember, you know. What you don't know, they will know. But it's some things that you know and only you know. And as far as being the momager, advocating for your kid,
Mm-hmm.
you got to be able to do the things, and that's on us. We've got to do the work. So know that we've made a choice. Some people may look at us crazy. Both of us work full time. And maybe do some other things on our own.
Yeah.
But we said yes to this little person. So now we have to be fully into that too. So we'll talk about how we live 400 lives in one life another week. But Latoya, thank you so much for starting this conversation on the Momager Life. And I know I have some friends who are probably like, "Whoo, girl, we can talk about this all day. We might need to have a Momager's brunch." We'll talk about that.
That'll be nice. Actually, be nice. A little networking going on.
Yeah. But thank you so much for starting this conversation for the month. I hope you all have enjoyed it as much as I have, because I have had a ball.
No, thank you for the opportunity, because again, we lead in a lot of different areas, but to your point, I wanted to make sure that this was seen as an area of leadership as well.
Absolutely. Well, we will be back next week talking more about parenting professional kids. It was just too long to type all that. And know that I love you. We'll be here talking about this topic for the rest of the month. If you don't know Latoya A. Faustin, you might want to just look her up. She's amazing.
You're
I
so
love you
sweet.
all. Keep your leadership all the way live, and I'll see you again next Monday. Bye, guys.